Hello, everyone,
All right,
and
all right.
you good?
My mic was off. My
Oh, I
bad.
thought you were frozen.
Yeah, no, we're back. And we're back. Very smooth as always. Hello, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Money in Motion. Today is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. And a lot to go over. Very excited. Interesting price action. Had CPI come in a little bit hotter than usual this morning, but
Yeah, nice
seemed kind of
summary here
unaffected.
from USC Now. Appreciate it. He says the energy index rose 5.6% in August after increasing 0.1% in July. The gasoline index increased 10.6% in August, following a 0.2% increase the previous month. That is pretty crazy. 10.6% in August. Wow. Um, but yeah, lots to cover today. Also, I got quite excited before we started the show. If you're a member of our community, which I know a lot of you watching are, you know that when we publish a trade insight, it's often when we have pretty high conviction. And CJ finally pulling out the coin card, the Coinbase trade insight finally hit, and that got me excited. So I want to hear that breakdown, and I want to hear what your thoughts on that, because that's been a long time coming, and it seems like you're finally pulling the trigger, which has got me excited. So want to hear a bit about that, but of course we can talk about Bitcoin, the S&P, and a whole lot more. So yeah, anything you'd like to start with, my friend?
Yeah, why don't we go into equities right away, and then we'll talk about coin.
For sure.
I'm loaded up. Well, not I shouldn't say loaded up. I've got some funds in BingX, and I've so yeah. Lido
Nice.
is interesting. Some others we can talk about. Yeah, look, it's very simple today. If we close green, it's a news failure in equities, meaning that's bullish because we should close down. We should close lower today with the fear around higher inflation leads to more hawkish activities by the Fed, increasing interest rates and so on. So the market should close down. If it doesn't close down, that's pretty bullish to me. And that's a sign at which I'd probably take a long in the Russell. That's one we've been talking about the past couple days. But, we'll see. Yeah, doesn't look very good right now. But we got to wait till the close once again.
Agreed.
But yeah,
Agreed.
definitely a little bit of weakness to start here.
Yeah, I think especially with ES, like looking at where it's at right now, this is a highly critical level, and it really does. Like, I think it just further gives credence to that Livermore chart that we always keep referencing, and this being the 12th point in this cycle that we've been in this year. So it does look like we're going to continue lower um, on the back of that negative news. That being said, however, um, Bitcoin still positive on the day. It is pulling back in conjunction with equity markets, as it tends to do, which is a bit unfortunate because we were finally getting some momentum, and then we get hit over the head with negative news, and the equity markets are selling off hard. That's definitely impacting Bitcoin in the last 4 hours at least. But nonetheless, for me, not much has changed. I said it yesterday. If we can get this daily candle to close above basically 26.2, I think that would be mega bullish and lead to continuation. And we're due for strength into equity weakness. Bitcoin's done it before, and I think it could plausibly do it if too many people try and short it on the thesis that just because the equity market's going down, Bitcoin's going to go down too. And today could be potentially a make or break day for both equities and Bitcoin. So, 2 days in a row of bullish price action. It's been a while since we've seen that. That being said, we'll see where today's candle closes on the back of that CPI data coming in pretty bearish. So, but that being said, CJ, like I said, a lot of the altcoins, they're green on the day. I think that's just because they were so overwhelmingly negative in the last couple of days. People are taking profit. We're seeing some short covering, maybe a little bit of short squeezing. But what are you looking at in particular here as we enter the middle of the week?
I'll pull up my charts. Yeah, I mean, all really depends on how we close today. The initial reaction to CPI was somewhat bullish, but I mean, we are closing down, or we are trading down. So interesting to see VIX up 6%. So yeah, I mean, I think coin needs to hold this level right here. Otherwise, could see a retest of 66. But as Monte often likes to do,
A little extrapolation.
yep,
Never heard anybody.
this is the height of my analysis here.
Yeah, baby.
So
Ooh,
yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
that.
maybe get a retest of that. I don't know. I was much more confident at the start of the open because it seemed like the initial reaction to the market was like bullish, even though we have a bearish CPI. The idea this year, I think, has been like counterintuitive, where we've actually rallied into, higher CPI prints. Whereas, like, as the cutting of rates actually becomes closer, everybody expects that to be a bullish catalyst. It might be actually a bearish catalyst because then there's like nothing to buy into. Like, if we have increasing rates still, you can still kind of buy into that with the hopes that eventually they'll be lowered. But once you lower them, like, everybody's basically bought in at that point, or has the reason to buy in at least. So it's all about how we close, though. It's I've been faked out many of times by the first 30 minutes or an hour. So just gonna wait. You know, if we
Yeah.
close down, nothing really to do. So
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. I think, and as is Mike, it's all about how we finish today, not really how we start that matters. We've seen a lot of irrationality in the first hour, plenty of times, only for the market to reverse and close the day in the opposite trajectory that it was headed on. When we were doing the show, so that's definitely a possibility. But that being said, Bitcoin is coming up against some pretty significant resistance. And we're going to need like something to push us higher. For me, I think the only catalyst I could really see would be obviously the ETF approval, but that's something that I'm not going to bank on or anything like that. Just watch the funding rate. If it gets overwhelmingly negative, um, then we could plausibly see a short squeeze above 26.5. Um, I would I wouldn't be totally caught off guard by a Bitcoin rally into an equity pullback. Um, just because right now there's
the
not a
banks have to fail, though. That's the key part.
that doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. But no, not in all seriousness, like I think even just like the tech stocks pulling back, we could still see Bitcoin rising because right now we've talked about it, right? There's no new money flowing in. Um, I saw a report from Glassnode. I should have saved it. I'll post it in the Discord later. But they talked about net inflows of stablecoins, and I talked about yesterday about USDT dominance. Um, but one thing that is pretty evident is that people are cashing in their stablecoins right now. And that was evident from Glassnode on-chain data. People are moving out of USDC. So even though it's rising in market cap, like people are flooding out of this market, like capital is flowing out. So we need that to change. We need capital to be flowing in. And right now there's just no buyers and really no plausible reason to be buying beyond purely technical analysis.
Yep.
But I mean, the golden cross, I mean, or the death cross, that we talked about yesterday, that could be another reason to justify, the contrarian buy, because everyone's shorting on that news. And like the stars are aligning in the sense that you have the death cross occurring today. Or it occurred yesterday. You have negative equity price action, very negative CPI print. So bad news. The markets are risk off, meaning people are going to try and short the crypto market relentlessly. That's what we see time and time again. And if they do try and short Bitcoin, I think they could get burned because it's been pretty resilient. So just watch out for that. I do think it's a possibility, but yeah, that's really all I got. I think.
I mean, it's held up well here in the last 15 minutes while equities have sold off quite a bit. We also had Franklin Templeton register for an ETF. They're very legit. John Templeton, Wall Street OG.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Bitcoin is holding up well, all things considered. And I think that is due to the fact that you're seeing a lot of people try and short this on the back of the thesis that, equity market's down, death cross, Bitcoin's going to 20K. Like that seems to be the prevailing sentiment.
DXY is also in a golden cross, or like a little,
Yeah.
It's closer to one, but obviously DXY moves way slower than the crypto market. So
It's coming though.
yeah, same type of idea.
Yeah,
And that
so
kind of goes for, I mean, DXY news failure, a lot of potential news failures today. CPI, that's why it's so nice and, it's so clear about when it's either bearish or bullish in the reaction to price.
yeah, 100%. And back to what you said at the beginning of the show, if we do manage to finish positive on the day today, I would consider that extremely bullish, and I would really start taking some risk because that sort of news failure tends to be followed by a continuation of positive price action. So I would not at all be surprised if we do finish today green, which is going to be a tough feat given the numbers that came in. Don't get me wrong, that's not going to be. It's easier said than done, but nonetheless, I think if we do finish green, we see some really nice continuation to end the week. But I hate to keep harping on it, but I think Mike summed it up pretty well. I think it's all about how we finish today, not exactly how we start. So,
Especially on days like today,
yeah,
and I think the best example or the best context of the idea of a news failure is when it happens late in the day too, like last
yeah,
15 or 30 minutes. Like let's say we're down like, like what we are right now, 20 bips. And in the last 15 minutes, we swing back to close up 50 bips. That is a very significant news failure because it barely lets anybody in because it happened, so late in the day. So that's like that's the very ideal news failure. Who knows if we'll end up getting it, but just wanted to lay down that context as well. I don't see a whole lot of stuff. I mean, the only thing that I would really be looking at in terms of taking a trade today is if cotton closed lower, because yesterday we did have a very bullish WASD reports in terms of the supply of cotton. So if we continue lower or if we close lower, then that potentially could trap some more longs who decided to buy in yesterday. But just to show you the chart, we've talked about this for better part of a few weeks now. But if you didn't catch this move up here, then I don't know, maybe this is another shot or another opportunity just to play to the bottom portion of this range. I mean, this is just a miserable chart. It's literally been doing nothing for over a year. Like, you think crypto doesn't have any volatility? Is uranium topped yet, or are we just gonna watch that go up forever? Nope. Yep. I guess so.
It always moves when you're not looking. That's how
That's
uranium works.
yeah, I know. I thought it was gonna take like 5 years for this to like actually play out. Plus, it was just could be very skeptical against this. The 2020 bull market. You just don't really know if it's coming back. But I wish they traded. I wish you could trade uranium futures, but you can't. It's the only futures market that is not really available for the public. I don't know why. They should
Sure,
let us
one day.
trade uranium. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure there's political or governmental reasons why that's not happening. Um, you know, but
You don't have to give it to me. We're not taking delivery.
no, I know. I'm just
But,
saying, but like it
oh yeah,
opens it up to like price manipulation and thus. Cool story about uranium actually. Einstein wrote a letter to President Truman about um, the building of an atomic bomb and its possibilities well before I know Oppenheimer's popular right now because of the movie, which was a great movie, I thought, for anyone who hasn't seen it. But
I heard it's a lot of talking.
yeah, okay, Logan Paul. But yeah, it is a lot of talking, but it's a lot of interesting stuff, high tension, high stakes type stuff. And but anyway, 10 years before that happened, Einstein penned a letter to the president and he said, we need to start preparing for, I believe it's possible to create a nuclear fission reaction using uranium. And he even laid out a map, and he's like, the at the time he's like, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is where you want to go. They have the most uranium. He said, but I'm sure the Germans are already sending troops there. So like it's has a long history of being a sought after asset. But I just think that's a very interesting story about uranium, and it drove up the demand, and obviously massively. If UEC was a company back then, its stock would have absolutely skyrocketed.
Warren Buffett would have been like 12 years old. He'd be like, I think this is some good value by the uranium. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Tesla meets Bitcoin, kind of. It's like a commodity that actually has innovation behind it. Plus like all the nuclear reactors that will likely be built in China over the next decade as Xi moves more towards like renewable energy. I think that is something that that's a way he will try to make China great, which obviously results in demand for uranium.
Yeah.
Lido, I like Lido. I bought some of that too. The thesis of that generally is that long term, I think above $10, maybe a flash wick above $10. We'll see. But if you have an ETF issuer such as ARK or even BlackRock, for instance, and you're going for like yield on an ETF, I think if you assume the ETH 2.0 yield is like 4 or 5% in a conservative manner, then as an ETF operator, you can give back, let's say 2% or even 3% to the people holding that ETF who are staking their ETH, and then you're making 1 or 2%. And if you have billions under management, I mean, that's just free passive flows just for custodying an ETF. Now, when those, I think this is kind of inevitable. When you have big institutions like BlackRock or Franklin Templeton or ARK trying to custody ETH and like have that payout to their holders, they're going to want to do it through a liquid staking derivative, so they can actually use that ETH while they're staking it to do something else, whether it be a market maker or providing liquidity for a pool or something. And they will do that, I do think. And so there'll be key services, Lido, obviously the largest one with the most market share behind Ethereum staking right now. But you also have others coming up like Rocket Pool. And, I mean, there's plenty I'm sure you could research. But I think that thesis or that idea that institutions will inevitably be required to use liquid staking derivatives if they're going to create a product that stakes ETH, that should lead things like Lido to go much higher. And I think it's kind of just an inevitability, but like who does it and when is obviously going to be very interesting in how that story plays out. What do you think about the ETH ETF thesis and liquid staking platforms, Monte?
Yeah, no, I'm bullish on Lido in the long term. I do think it's very contingent on what we see ETH do in the coming days, of course. But Lido is the primary means for which people stake their ETH. If you want to be able to stake your ETH and take it out right away, there's no better way to do it than Lido. Like you mentioned, there are competitors popping up, things like Rocket Pool and whatnot, but Lido will always have that first mover advantage when it comes to staking on ETH. And wow, this is at a really critical level here for its BTC pair. A breakdown below that level could spell some ugly price action for both Lido and ETH. It's very similar to the ETH BTC chart, really, if you think about it, which makes sense because Lido and ETH have kind of moved together. But we could see, a move to the upside. Who knows? I'm not taking a shot on it right now, but when the time comes and this market does start to turn, I think this will be the next wave of speculation, is like liquid staking derivatives, and Lido has a great first mover advantage. So
Yeah, OP looks strong as well. That's mainly. I'm just trying to find stuff with relative strength.
there's going to be a lot of stuff with relative strength today, I think, just on the basis of the fact that there are a lot of assets that were heavily shorted yesterday and got squeezed out. Like a great example is comp. The funding rate on comp got to negative 0.33 at one point. So that's like overwhelmingly negative, not 0.03, like 0.33. And today it's up almost 10%. So like is someone buying comp? No. It's just shorts getting squeezed out. So I think we
Nasdaq
might.
is now green too.
Yeah, that's I did notice that ES and Nasdaq both turning. Nasdaq really actually looks decent from a 15-minute perspective. So we could get that news failure that you're talking about and finish this week strong. That would be nice.
I don't know what you guys do during the day. I'm gonna go play some San Andreas till the close, and then we'll make some trading decisions. We got the Australian Central Bank coming out with some economic numbers tonight, so that could be a potential failure, news failure or entry trigger for New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar. Monty and I were playing Men at Work, the land down under yesterday. I should say I was. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was annoyed with me, telling me to shut up.
No,
Usually how things go around here. But.
It's a good song when you're listening to it on your own headphones, not when it's coming through someone else's microphone and you're trying to play a video game, and it's But anyways, that's all we got for today, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. We do this show every morning, same time, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. And also don't forget to check out tradethechain.com for a free 14-day trial. You get 14 days absolutely free at www.tradethechain.com. That gets you access to the sentiment data that we often reference. It also gets you access to the Discord where we publish our trade insights and just discuss trades that we're taking with the community. That includes myself, CJ, Nick, Alex, and the whole Trade the Chain crew. Plus,
Doug is very underrated.
You can't
part
forget
of
about
Trade
Doug.
the Chain crew. but he had some ideas today. Definitely encourage you to check those out.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt you, Monte. Go ahead.
no, 100%. Don't want to leave out Dougie. And yeah, and on top of that, there's a very bright community of traders that all share their insights as well. Love hearing from them. But if you guys have any questions or anything, definitely stop by there. That's the place to drop them. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Take care and happy trading.